What's going on, guys? John here, and I'm joined here with my Benchwarmers co-host Jimmy as we are checking in for the United View, the match report of the game. Newcastle United versus Manchester United. The game has ended 1-0 at St. James's Park following the only goal courtesy of Anthony Gordon. It was a dreadful performance for Manchester United, which Jimmy and I will break down. But Jimmy, just quickly summarize your thoughts on what that game was for us, because my head was gone.
Yeah, I mean, if I can sum it up with one word, it would be stinker.
Yeah, stinker.
Because
stinker.
I mean, I think we had 11 players just playing defense that whole game.
we were
was
backs against the wall.
Yeah, there was nothing going on the attack. I think we had one shot on goal.
Yeah,
the entire
out of 8
game.
8 attempts.
Absolutely, and I think our attackers were defending more than they were doing anything else that game. There was just nothing going for our players, and this was a bad game to come back to as a United fan.
Yeah, especially following that Galatasaray game.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to break things down a little bit more throughout the game, but I want to sort of dive in a little bit with respect to Erik ten Hag's decision prior to even us kicking the ball. I'm normally very supportive of Erik ten Hag, but this is one thing I do want to discuss. His decision to leave out Rafael Varane, and I don't even know if Victor Lindelof made it into the bench, but he, I know for sure, had a center back available on that bench.
Yeah.
But he opted to play Luke Shaw as the left-sided left center back, with Diogo Dalot playing at left back. I always said that Diogo Dalot works at left back because the only elements that I like about Diogo Dalot is his hero ball ability, his attacking approach. That works when you're playing as an inverted fullback because you're more opted to cut in and hit it, right?
Absolutely.
And you have a bit of that width to work with. Defensively, you still need to keep it a sound, right? And I think every time Diogo Dalot's featured, it looked decent for us because we didn't have any other options.
Yeah.
But with an option on the bench, he still opted for it. And I knew right away that was going to be a stinker because we were going against a Newcastle side, albeit they were frustrating, they waste a lot of time, they're annoying, and they rattle us.
Yeah.
They're still a decent side. There's a reason why they perform well.
Yeah.
And I thought Diogo Dalot starting at the fullback was the wrong choice in my view.
Yeah, and it showed in the play in the first half. There were multiple times we were watching that game where we saw Dalot getting given a ball in his run and he just stops, waits for coverage to come to him, and then he loses the ball.
Yeah.
As a fullback, when you're in your third of the pitch, you don't want to be doing that.
You don't want to be taking unnecessary risks.
Absolutely. He could have just ran with the ball or just passed it, but he invited a challenge to try to, get past, the attacker, and lo and behold, he did not, and it came to bite us in the butt. Granted, there were no goals in the first half, but there could have been a lot. They
should have scored like 4, 5, 7 goals. But I honestly think, moving on to the next topic, because I don't want to keep things all doom and gloom, but apart from that decision, respectfully, I thought defensively in that first half especially, we were solid. Yeah. Solid.
Absolutely.
Luke Shaw, and
Harry
this man,
Maguire.
Harry mother flipping Maguire.
Absolutely.
Absolute monster at the back.
And don't forget Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who in the first half clamped down Anthony Gordon. Granted, he was, trying to get past Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but he couldn't. And I think that was great. That's exactly what we wanted. But, I mean, we have to give, plaudits to Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw out there because Harry Maguire was on a madness.
There was that Isak chance where he sort of defended with his body turned and literally a clip of his boot just caught that ball and skewed it out. Thank goodness for Harry Maguire.
The amount of clearances, the amount of blocks that this man had this game, I can't say enough about him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, so going on to the rest of that first half, what do you think was the biggest problem for us in that first half? Because there was a glaring issue that I saw in our attack, which was Marcus Rashford.
Yes.
And his production in this game.
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and blame it all on Marcus Rashford, but I will be very critical of him because I thought today was one of the worst Marcus Rashford performances I've ever seen. And it was bad because, look, I'm not trying to sit here and overreact, right? I don't want to sit here and go, this guy was bad, this guy was bad. Although I want to, but that wasn't the case because I felt like his game was one of the worst games I've saw because it was reductive. On the right-hand side, I said this time and time and again, you play Marcus Rashford on the right and you get a simpler output.
Right.
Simple in the sense that he has to play more one-dimensional, more sort of simple-minded, right? Because he's more limited to playing with his natural foot. And there's only so much you can do trying to beat a man, try to cut inside when you're playing on your natural side, right? So from Marcus Rashford's perspective, you want to keep things simple. And you've seen him do that. And there was like this one opportunity where I thought he put in a decent cross.
Yeah.
But apart from that, he was invisible.
Yeah.
And every time the ball came to him, the rare odd occasion, rather than trying to either drag it, like either keep it on the touchline and just go far, or rinse it back and try to weave in between the channels, right? In between the two banks of four. Whatever it is. There was no simplicity behind Marcus Rashford. And today, I was severely disappointed because I love Marcus to bits. I have been criticized harshly for overprotecting Marcus. I love him as a player, as a man, but as a player, it's getting harder and harder to show love because we're here at December now.
Right. It's been 4 months.
4 months of this. It's hard to defend him at this point. And, I feel for Erik ten Hag because today was the first time where I saw Marcus get hooked.
Early in the match.
With conviction.
Yeah.
You saw Erik ten Hag freaking livid.
Yeah.
He had this hat on and he was screaming.
Right.
He looked like Heisenberg.
Yeah.
Say my name. He was on it. He was furious.
Yeah, Ten Hag was not happy with the performance, but he shouldn't be because Ten Hag shouldn't be happy with how these players played because that is not a sign of the manager's fault. Right. It's not his fault that these players are out there not producing. You know, going to the midfield, what are your thoughts on the midfield that we had? We had Scott McTominay, Kobbie, and Bruno. What do you think we could have done better there?
Honestly, today was the game that I think it was like a bit of like a humbling lesson for all Manchester United fans. We rave on about Kobbie Mainoo, and I still 100% believe that Kobbie Mainoo is the truth. You know me, Jimmy.
Yeah.
You know me more than anyone, that I'm very hesitant to big up young players. Kobbie Mainoo has something else in him, where if he continues to work hard, he'll become something. But today was the game that helped us remember. It was like a reality check. Kobbie is still 18. I was saying it in the stream.
Yeah, he's a child.
He's going against one of the most athletic players in the world. I'm talking about Premier League being one of the most physically demanding, not just a football league, but just a sporting organization in general.
Yeah, one of the most physical leagues
yes,
in
and
the
he's
world.
going against grown-ass men.
Yep.
It's not easy. You know, and everyone's like, oh, but, you know, if Haaland can do it, Mbappe can. Those two are specimens. They're monsters. They're one in a million.
Yeah, they were made in a lab,
Yes.
those two.
Like, it's a rare thing to see those kinds of players.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be a Jude. Everybody can be a Killian. Everybody can be an Erling. It doesn't work like that. There's normal, you know, routes of progression for young players. And this was one of those games where we saw that like it was harder for Kobbie. He was getting muscled out by Joe Linton. He was getting outrun by, was it Livramento? Somebody. He was getting he was getting outrun by somebody. He was getting outmuscled by somebody. And I think Kobbie Mainoo was probably one of our better performers.
Yeah,
I thought he played well.
He did play very well. He still had the calmness in his game.
Yeah.
He was still doing well, getting out of presses, passing it back and forth up the field. But like you said, it was a wake-up call for us to realize he's a kid.
We still need more.
Yeah,
like we can't just rely on Kobbie. Like,
Yeah.
remember we were on the live stream. Remember that there was that moment where Scott McTominay, he was in a comfortable position to bring the ball down. It comes over his top, and he either like boots it high back up in the air, or he does something to it, and the ball leaves his space that he commanded. He loses it, and then he just stands there. And then the ball, now Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who wasn't expecting it, which I thought you picked that up very well, because Aaron Wan-Bissaka wasn't expecting that. And then all of a sudden, he has to change body direction quickly to recover that, and then now he's in a losing position. That's reductive football.
Yeah.
What are we doing there?
Yeah, there was no hint of trying to win the second ball. There was no hint of, you know, taking that next step after that first touch.
Yeah, you could clearly tell it wasn't calculated.
It was not.
And you cannot have that in a midfield presence. Like Luke Shaw, one thing he does really well, when the ball comes down, even if it's a 50-50 or not, you know he's got steps 1, 2, and 3 calculated.
Yeah.
He takes the touch out left, out wide, drags it back. There's something in his head where he knows what he's going to do.
Right.
That's a defender we're talking about. Luke Shaw is class.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe that defensive mishap at the where I thought the entire back four stunk it when we conceded that goal. At least Luke Shaw shows us a little bit of that class.
Right, and I think that's one good thing about Luke Shaw that Dalot didn't show was the movement off the ball. There were a lot of times in that first half and up until he got subbed off in the second half where he'd give the ball to Garnacho, he'd give the ball to Bruno, and he would just stand there.
Yeah, oh my God.
He would just stand as if he wants the ball back with nothing going on.
Remember that situation on the bottom of the near our 18-yard box? He like gives Garnacho a really weird ball.
Yeah.
And Garnacho himself in a predicament.
But he still actually got the pass off. But
but
Dalot
Diogo was just standing there.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it was a frustrating performance from everybody, but it highlighted the fact that not only are we heavily unmanned and just sort of like severely outgunned, it also goes to show that we look disjointed. And I think this season, if we're going to look, it hasn't been all doom and gloom, right? We're still 7th. It's not the worst. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, this freaking sucks, blah, blah, blah. But I am saying this is a problem.
Yeah.
And this has to be remediated ASAP because we're seeing disjointedness from Manchester United. I don't care if we're missing a lot of players due to injuries. Newcastle missing a lot of players. Right now, they have more players in their squad unavailable due to injury than us. And they look miles ahead in terms of the cohesion, in terms of the desire, the willingness to try and get behind it. We were talking about how we were so shocked that they're always trying to win a second ball as if it's their last.
Yeah, their pressing was on another level.
Yeah, till the 82nd minute, you see Anthony Gordon sprinting with full lungs trying to win something. And not just sprinting like a headless chicken.
Yeah.
Sprinting with conviction.
Yeah.
You see these things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm sort of concerned about with Manchester United, is because I'm not saying we're lacking energy, we're lacking desire, and that's it. I'm saying there's something right now with Manchester United that is a bit concerning that Erik ten Hag needs to sort out, because we look so disjointed. And it starts with certain players like Rafael Varane. I have no idea what's going on. Diogo Dalot cannot play at left back ever again. I do not want to see him at left back. Please, for the love of all things good. I would rather see Diogo Dalot as center back than freaking. I don't want to see him at left back.
I mean, I would rather see Lindelof at left back at that point.
I don't. Now you're capping. I'm just saying. I love Diogo, but I don't want to see him at left back. I would rather see him at right back. I know he's done a makeshift job for us many a times, but I just don't want to see it anymore.
Right.
It's just I'm not a big fan of it, especially when he has to partner up with somebody like Alejandro Garnacho, who I thought today couldn't really do much either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's still a young player as well. If anything, I'm more disappointed in the likes of Varane. I don't know what's going on. Diogo. Marcus Rashford, these players that
Martial.
Brother. Martial.
Again, we completely forgot about him because he was also invisible. I mean, I think Garnacho out of our front three had more action in the game.
More output, more action, more something.
But I've got to say that this just wasn't a game that I'd want to watch again. There was, going into the second half, we have to talk about that goal that we conceded. Luke Shaw, from the back, passes out, gets cut out by a Newcastle player. I don't know what Dalot was doing. Got absolutely destroyed by one single pass, and then a free, I think it was a Almiron pass, or maybe it was Trippier pass. It was Trippier, passed it all the way far post to Anthony Gordon. But what are your thoughts on that passage of play and how we conceded that goal?
Like I said, it was a defensive mishap. We were playing well defensively for most parts of that match up until that point. And I just think that at the end of the day, it's like, if they're knocking on our door constantly, it's a matter of time before they score. Like there's nothing analytical to discuss there. Diogo Dalot caught on his heels. Just the runner went right past him. He had no idea what the hell was happening. Cross comes in. Anthony Gordon far post. There was another player near post as well. It wasn't like it was just Anthony Gordon and Aaron Wan-Bissaka was beat. It was the whole back line was beat.
Yeah,
completely.
Absolutely.
So it just goes to show it wasn't one or two. It wasn't one player, let alone two. It was the entire back four. And I'm not blaming it on the back four because it was a
mishap
from everybody.
Yeah,
and that pretty much sums up this reductive performance. If I had to pick a man of the match, I would probably go for Harry Maguire. I think Harry Maguire deserves that one.
I think people might give him some backlash for being offside for that potential goal that Anthony had, but in the context of that situation, I think Harry did as best as he could.
Yeah, he just tried to get out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'd also have to give it to Harry because without him, honestly, I think the game could have been done and dusted within the first 30 minutes. Yeah. So I think it also has to be Harry for me.
Yeah, well, what did you guys think, guys? Get in the comments, let us know. And if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the United View. And if you guys are interested in hearing more of what we have to say, Jimmy, that necklace, can you put that away? It's lame.
Oh.
Lame-O.
You want to bring yours out?
No. Please come check us out on our channel. The link is in the description below. That's it from us today. I know the game was bad, but hey, we still have Sunday to enjoy, right? Be happy, be healthy, take care of your loved ones, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.